Hello, everybody. My name is Dr. Troy Jackson. I'm one of the physicians here at Authentic Health. And today I'm going to be talking to you about protein as the newest health halo. So, if you haven't noticed, protein is now the poster child of health. No matter what it is, this is in the grocery store, no matter what it is, if it's high in protein, then it's got to be healthy. That's what these marketers are trying to tell us when you're walking down the aisles of grocery stores and looking at all these different products. And if you're like me, I've noticed that there's all these high protein labels just being slapped on a bunch of different stuff. You now see cereal with high protein, or pastries with high protein, or tortillas or breads that are now protein enriched. There's a million different protein bars nowadays. There's mac and cheese that's high protein. There's other pastas that are high protein, and there's even protein potato chips. Now, I like protein. Protein is an essential nutrient, of course. We need it to build muscle, for anything to work in our body requires amino acids, which is the breakdown of protein. But I don't think we need protein in snack foods and in sweets and in treats. That doesn't make sense to me. And so this is a kind of a spontaneous video. I walked in our office, went into the break room, and I saw this protein cookie, and it made me laugh. And I looked at it and I was like, I just have to write about this. We don't need a protein cookie, but this is what it is. And I've done one of these before where I show a product, I kind of go through the labeling, go through the back on the nutrition facts, and just kind of help explain it to you. I think it's helpful to go through an actual product so you can do this for yourself with other products. This is not to bash this protein cookie or the company. They're just doing what they need to do to sell a product. It's really just to help inform you what is called greenwashing, where they make claims that make it sound like it's healthy, even though it may not be. And this health halo effect of this idea that if you just say it has high protein, then all of a sudden it becomes this glorified health food. So I'm going to talk through this protein cookie right here. I'll change my screen so I can see the video here. So Lenny and Larry's, the complete cookie. So I don't know this company. I'm sure Lenny and Larry are two great people. But I want to just go through this cookie here and explain why I don't think this is healthy. And it's not that I don't think it is. It's definitely not healthy. But I'm going to show you how they trick you into thinking that it is healthy. So here's the cookie. So you can see all of a sudden, we're right on the top here, it's this huge label, 16 grams of protein. So they're trying to cue your eyes into that label there. If you look below it, it's plant-based. So of course, I didn't know there were non-plant-based cookies, but this cookie is a plant-based cookie, not a meat-based cookie. So good to know. And then down here, the next biggest lettering, really, besides the label, is 10 grams of fiber. So great. I like fiber. Fiber is a wonderful, healthy thing. It's really good for your gut. It may help with weight gain or weight loss by improving your satiety, your hunger. And then it's something we just don't get enough of. So it's a really good nutrient. So great. I'm down with 10 grams of fiber. That's wonderful. Okay. So we're going to flip to the back. And as you can see on the back, there's this, it's all white and black except for this little thing here. And this is pretty funny. So I listed it in the article or in the show notes, but I'm going to try to just kind of come in here and just read it off to you. So 16 grams of protein, we knew that. 10 grams of fiber, we knew that. And then we've got non-GMO, great. No soy, great. Vegan, great. Kosher, great. No fructose corn syrup, great. Artificial sweeteners, great. And then it's sustainable palm oil. So basically, this is just a list of buzzwords, right? You've probably seen all these different words listed in some other packages. It's like the fads of the day, right? You got to make sure it's got no high fructose corn syrup. You got to make sure it's no artificial sweeteners. You got to make sure it's vegan, non-GMO. You have to make sure you're hitting all groups. It has to be kosher, no soy, again, vegan. So these are all just buzzwords that are trying to make you think that it's healthy, right? So then I'm going to flip this over. We're going to look at the nutrition facts. Okay. So nutrition facts here. If you see over on this corner, it's a little reflective, the serving size is half a cookie. Now, I don't know a normal person that's going to eat half of this cookie. it's packaged as a single thing that if everyone's going to eat the entire cookie. So it listed it as half a cookie, but we're going to look at just the per cookie label. So you can see over here, per serving, per cookie. So we're going to look at all the per cookie ones because let's be honest, that's what we're going to do. If I open this up, I'm going to eat the entire thing, not save half for later. Maybe you have better willpower than I do, but I don't know. So calories in this one cookie, 460 calories. That's a lot of calories. Most breakfasts don't even have 460 calories in them. And this is just in a cookie, a snack, a treat, an additive to your day. This is not a meal replacement, or you won't be using it as a meal replacement. So that's a ton of calories for it to claim as a health food. I don't know if it didn't claim it's health food, but it's suggesting it's a health food. So come over here. Fingers are kind of hard to do this. 30% of your daily value of saturated fat. So, okay, if you're trying to lower saturated fat, that's probably not great. It's got a good bit of sodium, but not a ton. And then what I really want to show you, there's your 10 grams of fiber, great. Come down here, 16 grams of protein, great. Added sugar, 26 grams. It says 52% of your daily value of sugar, but in general, 20, 25 grams would be, in my opinion, the max if you're going to even get that much. We really shouldn't have a daily value of sugar to begin with, right? It's just as little as possible is really what the daily value should be. So I looked at a Snickers bar as a comparison. A Snickers bar has less saturated fat, it has less calories, and it has less added sugar in it. So what you're saying is you'd rather eat the cookie or eat the Snickers bar. Which would you say is healthier? They're trying to tell you that their cookie is healthier than other treats, other candies. But if you look at the back here, that is not true. Eating a Snickers bar would be technically healthier than eating this thing if you're just looking at the nutrient composition here. Obviously, fiber is great, which has more fiber and more protein than the candy bar does. But at the end of the day, this is candy. This is a treat, right? So I want to show you also the nutrition label at the top here. It's kind of hard to read. I'm just going to read it myself. It makes it easier. The first ingredient is enriched wheat flour. I talked another video about this. If it doesn't say whole wheat flour, it has to say those 3 words. If it doesn't say whole wheat flour, then it is white flour. So it's processed flour. All the nutrients has been removed, and it's just white flour, which is essentially sugar. Okay, so it's enriched wheat flour. The second ingredient is a protein blend, and it's basically just a plant-based protein blend. And then you have cane sugar is the third ingredient. I'm going to pause here. If you list out all the sugars, cane sugar, invert sugar, dried apples, I guess would be a sugar added, molasses. So you have 3 different forms of sugar, and this is a very common practice in ingredient lists. So if you didn't know this, ingredient lists are listed in order of the most abundant ingredient down to the least abundant ingredient by weight. So wheat flour is the number 1 ingredient. That makes sense. This is a cookie, so there's more wheat flour than anything else in here. But what's tricky, what they do is that they split out the sugar into multiple different forms of sugar, so it doesn't ever get to the number 1 or number 2 spot on the nutrition list. So if you were to add up and say that cane sugar, invert sugar, and molasses are the same thing, because in the body they are the same thing, they all break down into sugar, that if you added those together, I am confident that sugar would be the number 2 ingredient at least. It may even be the number 1 ingredient. There may be more sugar in this than flour. I don't know, but I have to make that assumption because why else would you split these out over 3 different things? It is not a flavor reason. It's a reason so they can keep it low on the nutrient list. There's some other additives in here. The fiber is inulin, so it's just an added fiber. It's not like this thing contains natural fibers because of the flour, because remember, it's white flour. All the fiber has been removed. So they had to add in fiber to make it a high fiber food, just like they added in the protein. Okay. There's some things, xanthan gum, guar gum, some things that, who knows? Maybe they're harmful for you, maybe they're not. But this cookie is a processed food, has lots of different ingredients in it, and all the, quote, healthy ingredients are just added. They're just shoved into a cookie. You took a cookie and you put in protein, you put in fiber, and you said it's healthy. You used green labels. You highlighted these added things that you put in there, and then you said that it was healthy because it doesn't contain these things. But at the end of the day, this is a cookie, a processed cookie with lots of ingredients that you wouldn't normally use to make cookies at home with, and it is not healthy. So I hope that's helpful for you, because this is not the only quote bad actor in the market space. I know there's an off-brand Pop-Tarts that they label themselves as like the healthiest pastry or something like that. There's these, now you can buy Cheerios with protein in them. You can buy the famous popular granola brands or oatmeal brands with more protein in it. So it's all these companies that maybe have unhealthy foods. Maybe they're not necessarily unhealthy. Oatmeal's not unhealthy in itself, but they're trying to jump on this bandwagon of protein by saying, well, look at us. We now have more protein. Therefore, we're going to say that this is a healthier option, or we're going to help you make the assumption, that leap in your brain, that protein equals health, and therefore our product is healthy because it has protein added to it. So if you're looking to increase your protein intake, do so from foods, beans, lentils, tofu, chicken, fish, beef, whatever you want to from a food perspective to increase your protein intake. Do that first. Then I would recommend looking at protein powders. Protein powders are a processed food, but you can find protein powders that don't have a lot of ingredients in them. And that's a really good way. It's just a byproduct, a waste product of making cheese. And so that's at least whey protein is. And so getting a protein powder is the next step there. Looking at essential amino acid supplementation, which are usually in powders or capsules, I would say that's a better choice than turning to cookies. And then, who cares? Like, if you want a cookie and you want to have protein in it, or you want to have a protein bar because it's easy, that's fine. But I wouldn't do it in place of something else, and I wouldn't think it was a health food. It may be a shortcut food, and maybe it's helpful in the moments, because it's reality. Sometimes you don't have time, but I wouldn't make it as your only thing. The thing that I do to get protein is I turn to these alternative protein sources that are really just junk with protein in it. So I hope that was helpful. I hope Lenny and Larry don't come and sue me for something, but I'm just trying to highlight that we should be careful when we're buying products in the store. We should look at the nutrition labels. We should scrutinize and make sure that what we're getting, if we're trying to shop healthfully, is to buy healthful foods. Until next time, take care.